Good morning, this is Teresa Swinton and welcome to my Monday moment on Monday the 1st of March 2021. It's the meteorological first day of spring apparently, so I'm told. I hope that the weather for you wherever you are is is a bit better than we've had the last few weeks. Here in South Gloucestershire it's looking a little bit overcast at the moment, but we had the most amazing weekend ever. I hope you did too. So last week we talked about organisational learning, and specifically we honed in on where does your learning come from. And guess how many responses I had to my challenge to compile a list of 100 sources of learning for your organisation? Absolutely none. So that was quite interesting. I thought maybe, and there were quite a few hits on the video, so it wasn't as though people didn't listen to the video or anything. And I thought maybe it was a bit too much of a challenge to come up with 100. Let's just revisit that a little bit and try it today and talk about some of those sources of learning that may not immediately spring to mind for you. One thing that I have observed in the different industries that we work in is a failure to be able to share information within inside an industry but outside of your own organisation, and maybe the reasons for that are fear of competitive advantage, giving away our crown jewels to the competition. Maybe we just don't have the avenues or the channels to be able to share this information without in a trusted environment. And I guess that's what it brought up for me, this thing about being able to operate in a trusted environment within our industry. So one of the industries that I know that does this really, really well is the nuclear industry. And the nuclear industry, obviously governed by a different regulator to the rest of us. Wherever you are in the globe, you have your own nuclear regulator. And I know that the nuclear regulator is the driver of much of this sharing of information across our industry. But it's also supported by organisations such as WANO, the World Association of Nuclear Operators, and IMPO. Out in the US. So those organisations help to create the channels for this collaborative approach to organisational learning. And that's why when we look for events that we can share as case studies, it's easy to find them in the nuclear industry because they're openly shared. And obviously when something goes wrong in that industry, then it has massive implications for all of us, the general public, and so that's why it gets shared very, very openly and transparently. So my question this week really is for you to think about your industry and what channels and avenues you have to be able to share your operational experience, your lessons learned from accidents or incidents, or other sources of learning that you might have come up with in your discussions last week. If you don't have those organisations or structures or communities in place, how might you go about creating them, or at least creating this environment for sharing and learning from each other's experiences, both good and bad, without it being giving away your competitive advantage or your IP, intellectual property. So if you belong to an industry that is doing this really well, please comment in the box below and share with us what you're doing and how you're doing it. Because I know that there are industries out there who can massively benefit from your experience and from the wisdom that you bring to this. If you are in an organisation or an industry that doesn't have these channels, again, like I say, how can you kind of hook up with people from your sector and create something which is an opportunity for everyone to learn from? So that's what I wanted to really talk about this week. As I say, if you don't do this particularly well at the moment, there's massive benefits in doing this and sharing what you know with your peers in your industry. So really interested myself in finding out what you know about this and how you do it. And I know that anyone else listening into this who doesn't already do this, they'd be they'd be really keen to find out as well. I just wanted to give another heads up. I listened into Lucas Engineering's webinar. It happens on a Friday, so here in the UK it was at 7:30 on Friday evening, and I did put a post on over the weekend about this because Joe Esty was talking about management of change, and if like me you enjoy listening to Joe speak, then this was a fantastic webinar to listen into, and certainly there were a lot of takeaways. There's so many change models out there and we don't get it well. Corporates don't do it well, companies don't do it well, I should say. So again, that's really worth a listen to, and I'll pop a link in my comments below for you to hopefully have a listen back to that, but definitely to sign up for future webinars. And of course, as you know, you can always join us on our weekly webinar, which happens on a Thursday afternoon at 2 p.m. UK time. This week I'm really excited. We've got Colin and James McPherson of Project Militium coming on to run a bit of a different webinar for us. They're taking over on my webinar this week, and they're going to run it their way as they would run a Project Militium meeting. So if you haven't signed up, I'll include the link for that below. I'd love to see you in the chat room or in the web room on Thursday afternoon for James and Colin, who just set up this brand new adventure, and I think it's going to be really exciting. So as I say, I'll pop a few links in for you down into the comments or up into the comments above. But please do talk to me this week about your community for sharing in your industry. Okay, thanks very much. Have a great week, everyone. Look forward to catching up with some of you during the week and perhaps on Thursday. And if not, then I'll catch up with you next Monday. Thanks. Bye.